Monday starts on a relatively quiet note in terms of high impact data. Non-farm payroll figures from France and machine factory orders out of Japan hit the wires at 6 a.m, followed by Italian industrial production figures at 9 a.m. to complete the start of the week. German consumer price index, an important measure of inflation from the Eurozone's largest economy, sees Tuesday get underway at 7 a.m. The economic sentiment ZEW survey for Europe comes out at 9 a.m, which measures the institutional investor sentiment, reflecting the difference between the share of investors that are optimistic and the share of analysts that are pessimistic. UK employment and earnings data is released at 9:30 a.m. in the form of ILO unemployment rate and average earnings. Half an hour later, it's Germany's turn to release the ZEW survey economic sentiment. As the evening sets in, a monthly budget statement released from the US summarises the financial activities of federal entities, dispersing officers and Federal Reserve banks. Rounding off the evening will be the high-impact Japanese GDP. This will be important for traders of USD-JPY pairing because it indicates the pace at which the Japanese economy is growing or decreasing. Wednesday starts in the early hours in Asia with Chinese retail sales and industrial production numbers out at 2 a.m. Japan also updates the markets on industrial production at 4:30. German GDP comes out as the sun rises in Europe, and then at 9:30 a.m. in the UK we get the PPI and consumer price index figures. The first of the two major events midweek come in the form of GDP data for the Eurozone at 10 a.m, and the second comes from the US with the latest CPI inflation figures. The Federal Reserve has been on a rampant march increasing interest rates, which has fueled volatility throughout global markets. Could a strong inflation numbers cement the highly expected fourth interest rate in December 2018? The penultimate trading day of the week begins overnight in Australia with the unemployment rate and consumer inflation expectations. UK retail sales hit at 8:30 a.m, followed by the same in the US at 1:30, along with the initial jobless claims and Philadelphia Fed manufacturing survey, which is a spread index of manufacturing conditions, movements of manufacturing. The Federal Bank of Philadelphia, this survey served as an indicator of manufacturing sector trends. It's interrelated with the ISM Manufacturing Index, the Institutes for Supply Management and Index of Industrial Production. With the European Central Bank President Mario Draghi maintaining his stance to end their lucrative bond buying programme, which increases liquidity in the Eurozone at the end of the year, the release of CPI numbers will be closely watched as combining inflation, of which this is a significant gauge and has been a main reason for reining in Europe's financial stimulus. Generally speaking, a high reading could be seen as positive or bullish for the euro, while a low reading could be seen as negative. This is then an important end to the week for the euro. For more information on company results and economic calendar, please see our week ahead.